want to talk to you about the background of the Common Core Standards. Two things specifically. First, the principles on which they're based, and second, who is involved in developing them. First, the principles. The first most important principle behind the core standards in literacy and mathematics is that they must be college and career ready. What I mean by that is it must be true that after students complete these standards in K through 12, that they are truly ready for the demands of college and career. As you may know, one of the largest educational crises in this country is that so many of our students, even those who pass their high school courses, even those who pass their high school exit exams, still face remediation when they get to college. That is, they're not ready for a first credit-bearing course in college, but are forced to take several remediation courses. And sadly, remediation is a trap from which many students don't escape. That is, an overwhelming majority of students who go into remediation never complete college. All of you know how important it is these days to get a college degree in order to be ready for the demands of career and life, and also to have the skills you need to be truly ready for careers. Because as careers change more and more, you need to have the flexible understandings in order to be ready to change your jobs and have a lifelong career. So the first important thing about these standards is that they are indeed career and college ready, that they build a staircase to readiness. That is, if you climb that staircase, K through 12, you are truly ready for the demands that follow. And that is perhaps their most important improvement over our current academic standards. We consider it a bargain, maybe even a holy agreement between students in our schools that if they do the work in K through 12, they are truly ready for what follows and will not need remediation. Second, the core standards are built not just by choosing what was common between states, but by building on the best of state work. It would have been easy to develop the core standards simply by choosing what was most common or popular among existing state standards, and then you'd have the common standards. But that would have been mediocre or worse. Instead, what we did was working with the best states in the country, the states who had the most proven academic standards and performance. We took their best work, and at the same time we listened deeply to the entire collection of states that worked with us, which by the way was 48 states in this country, who contributed their best work so that the standards would build further on top of that. These standards were not an attempt to collect what was done in states. They were an attempt to collect the best work that had been done and then build on top of them to a next generation of standards built on the best of state work to date. And I want to thank those states for their deep involvement in their process and their generosity in sharing their finest work. We stole from them shamelessly. Third, the third principle is evidence. A key idea behind these standards is it is not enough to say or hope that there are certain things kids need to know and be able to do to be college and career ready. We need evidence. We need evidence to focus our efforts on what matters most. A lot of people have lots of ideas as to what kids need to be able to do, and that's why academic standards documents have gotten so large and vague and vast, because the way to keep everyone involved has been to let everything in. We needed a standard of evidence to be confident that we could achieve our aims, that based on evidence students truly would be ready for the demands of career in college, and use that evidence to achieve our fourth principle. And our fourth principle was focus. It is essential for academic standards to focus on what matters most in order for teachers to have the time to teach and students to have the time to practice. If standards get too long or unrealistic, they are a wish list. They are not standards. And too often, teachers in this country are given an unrealistic set of things to do, which makes them laughable. When standards get too vast, the assessments that are based on them become unreliable because they're trying to test too many things, and the textbook materials become longer and longer. I'm sad to say that American textbooks are some of the largest in the world, but that does not mean our academic performance is among the best in the world. Focusing on more in-depth understanding and abilities in what matters most is core to these standards. And finally, the fifth principle is local flexibility. These standards set a set of common expectations for our students to be able to compete in a global marketplace, to move between states and succeed in their own state, across states, and throughout this world. But what is maintained is a great deal of local flexibility. These standards do not dictate how to teach. They do not dictate curriculum. They are not a mandated curriculum. They are a core set of expectations for students to achieve in different ways, in different classrooms. And it allows the great laboratory of the states to continue to innovate and achieve breakthroughs. And it leaves room for teachers to have judgment. These standards do not describe everything teachers can and should teach. They describe a vibrant, powerful core that, if mastered, opens up wide areas of knowledge in mathematics and science and literacy and history, social studies. They give kids what they need to succeed, but not all they could have. And teachers should continue to share that in their classrooms.
To say that the Common Core State Standards was a collaborative effort really understates what went on. There were multiple times where we were getting feedback from people around the country. And when I say feedback, I don't mean just a page here or a couple pages here. We oftentimes got 20 or more pages from a state team or from a professional organization about what they liked and what they didn't like. And I have to be really honest. We had some early flubs, I might call them, when we were first putting the K-12 learning progressions together. A couple of things we tried that were new, some of them stuck and were good ideas, and other ones people were like, what are you doing over there? And I have to really credit the state teams and all the professionals around the country to help keep us on the right track. They didn't give up on us. They guided us along the way about what was working or not. And so this was more than a collaborative effort. It was something that we did together from beginning to end. I just want to finish by saying that the name Common Core State Standards, to me, embodies the principles on which the standards are based. When I think of common in Common Core, I think of the collaborative nature of what went on, of the state teams that were with us every step of the way giving us feedback. When I think of the word core in Common Core State Standards, to me that says that we stayed really focused on what the evidence told us students needed to be college and career readiness. And last, Common Core State Standards, the state in the title, really says that these standards were developed by and belong wholly to the states. In fact, much of what is great about the standards, credit is due to the states, the teams, and the teachers that worked on them.